A little video for my TikTok. Not made directly to TikTok, mind you, because more often than not I record stuff and it just don't go in, it just disappears. So, like, yeah, maybe I need to update the app or something. Anyway, yeah, because I was talking, there was people singing, busking in Leicester Square yesterday, and it's that song, "We're now 7 years old." That one, yeah? And it's all like that one. The passing of time. And it really depresses me, that song. It just, wow, 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 wow. It just does. Anyway, the thing is, I was getting on here to say something. Yes, asking for advice. I'm asking for your advice for a change. Because, yeah, you might not like the gays, you might not like this, you might not like that, but it's just a case of you can't be this unlucky with sort of like some choices. I mean, I know they're bad choices my part because they're not safe bets, or this one wasn't safe bet, this one was that one was going to do this, so it is. But it's just like, come on now. Like, the heartless nature of them it's just been like that. So it's like, what could somebody explain to me what's going on? Because I think I'm a nice enough person to deserve, be worthy of love, and reprogram and listen to all this stuff. It's like, yeah, it's nice to get deep with yourself and be like, yeah, I deserve it, I'm worthy of it. But what is with the heartlessness? It's not like I'm the sort of person who won't go out my way or do anything for somebody. It's not like I'm the sort of person that's just throwaway in life. And you think, these people must have like such monumental lives to just be like with people that you spend years with, you got lots in common. And that was the thing, it's like I was getting ever more enriched in my personal choices of women, in the fact that they got careers in common and things in common. And it would seem to me that when you get that with them, they're worse than they've ever been. Like, they're just like ghost. Called the police on that. She's putting letters through the post box during COVID, which resulted in 60 hours and 2 arrests, 1 coming back from Venice, 1 on a beachfront. Traumatised to fuck. Kind of like you say you're a home wrecker because you wreck my relationships with my fam, because I just resent that they don't get a lawyer and people aren't fighting your corner. So it's like, thanks for that, bitch. Thanks. And there was me thinking that artistic people were nice. Like, you thought they had more heart. I mean, they're trying to be creative. They're trying to create things, you know. That's, people call that the God complex, if you're creative and artist and they get picked on and bullied. But then when you're an artist and you're a little bit like, oh, it's a lot to juggle, I think you're the God complex is the fact that you're giving birth to a little soul to actually juggle. I mean, that's a bigger deal to me than being a person that's trying to express themselves. But you think the people that are trying to express themselves are like, you know, things, anything. Not always the case. Myself, present company, you know, not, I think I'm exceptional. I feel like I had a lot of humanitarian goals in my artistry. I think that in itself is just like the thing that should really separate the artists that are very autistic and in their bubbles from the ones that are exceptional and try to elevate themselves to have money, have influence, and humanitarian goals affect them. So yeah, I really rate myself on that front. But in rating yourself on that front, it's almost like they say the law of attraction. It's like I attracted the things that I say, well, that's why I want this creation as a street present brand, because things that happened to me wouldn't even have happened to me, because not in a just world they wouldn't, but they did. And so it's like, come on, make this, because it's not just that, it's that and that. So the law of attraction wise, if you're saying, oh, I think society needs this thing to sort of like balance out a sort of playing field, if you're saying that, then you'll attract things to justify it. That's how I find the law of attraction works, rather than saying I want a yacht and visualising me on a yacht getting married in the Bahamas or whatever, which I do daily, nightly. Doesn't happen, because it's sort of like, it's like when it's something that you feel like a responsibility, it's like playing in the background, so you attract things to kick you to. The thing is, though, the things that are kicking you are disaffecting you, so you're not making progress for the thing that you're trying to aspire to. So that's the irony part of like law of attraction. When you've got responsibilities and you visualise the things that you want, you're just getting kicked with negatives that are going to make that thing not float. law of attraction wise. I don't. That's just my negative spin on it. But don't, if you know, don't you? It's like the things that are negative do attract worse, because that cell time was one of them, because it was like I've been in relationships with older when I was 21, and it's like I feel like in hindsight, like what on earth was I doing, right? But you go, when you meet somebody with a big age gap yourself, you go, well, yeah, it's taboo, and I could tell Mum don't like it, but at the same time, as it prepared you for something. Happiness is happiness. If it's a taboo and that person doesn't see herself having kids, what's the difference between being with somebody that's 14 years older? But I felt all insecure and weird about it, and was really like that about it, and that's how it's like, attract. Prison time. You know what? It's not cell time, not prison, cell time. But it's just like you attract that because you go, oh, So it's like, but having said that, do you know what the irony is? It's like the person that I was with was older. That's a crime. That was a crime. People were saying she's not for you, this is not for you. But it was mutually beneficial, because everything's like in some form of like abuse in society, really, because when it's not easy going and there's not lots of opportunities for people to just run around and do things with no money, which I'm trying to facilitate as a brand, like woofing, fruit picking, and just getting kids out of their houses when they sort of like end school if they haven't gone to university straight away, because the pressure to just do or whatever sometimes can be so up here. It's like if you have parents that won't let you have a moment to yourself, if you work, you have to come home, you can't even be with your colleagues, you might end up with the first person that you meet, the first spark of anything, even though it's like, what the car crash? It's like, well, at least I can have a beer in peace. Like, the logic's like that. People are always... And to prove for this fact is just Crisis in London and all the charities, because it's like people, monumentally messy people that don't actually really relate very well, and it's like strangers living under you. Sometimes in some families it's like they go in their own bubbles and they do their own thing, and so it's just like people feel, you could like that quote that keeps popping up all over my Facebook, worst thing is to live with people that make you feel alone, and that can often be a dynamic in a lot of families anyway. So it's just like, and then it's just like the relates are just screw turning, like, oh shit, we've popped out kids, turn the screws so hard that they just break their kids, and it's all a mess, right? Because I mean, I'm not saying it's all like that, but London is full of that. There's different classes and different energetics. And then there's people like myself that get the screws turned so heavily when you just think you've found a slice of happiness, and it's just like, oh my God, I mean, really, could it get any worse? What did I do to deserve this, God? Nothing. I didn't do anything to deserve such in the world, or such heartlessness. I didn't do anything to deserve that. It seems to me, the world we live in, if you exhibit just a tiny bit of flair or a little bit of talent or a little bit of anything, people will be like, and turn on it. Just turn on it, because they feel like they haven't got the articulation, or they haven't got that little spark, divine spark that's going, I'm going somewhere that ain't here. And they've been feeling like that their whole life. But people just sense it, and all they want to do is just instill your head with loads of fear and say like homosexuality is a crime in the new ages, and like let's bring back the old atmosphere of crap and draconians, persecution crap, and Elon boys, like people eating boy with lots of money turning the screws, is what I sensed in my particular airport arrest and beachfront arrest. I mean, that's really, thanks for making me feel so fucking special, but you traumatised me, and that deserved compensation. Sorry, my parents aren't really the sort of people that splash out money on a lawyer, but I know if I had one, I'd be like reaping loads of fucking rewards for that level of traumatising on 2 occasions, and that level of investigation, that level of, you know there's somebody tapping your phone because they're appearing at exactly the same point your brother's meeting and shit, and you just felt it in your sinews crawling on you just because you've been cutting yourself off and running to festivals, and you're not in this draconian little prison box of London vibes, which some families really do turn screws, and it's just like, yeah. So anyway, could anybody tell me, advise me, what the fuck is that about? Because I don't think it could get any worse. I have no expectations in like it's like, it's not going to turn me straight. It's not aversion therapy. Like, I might have done my experiment in there, but it made me feel so gay.